Wes, I know yesterday you said you hadn't seen the bobblehead yet. Now that you get a good look at it, what do you think of the likeness?
I mean, it's hard to get any bobblehead right, but I know that they put the work and the time and the effort into it, and I got no. I love the leg sleeve on there. That's great detail. I definitely wore one of those too. I think they did a good job. Oh man,
What's this kind of mean to you? Just coming back to Marquette, being back in Milwaukee again, getting your own bobblehead.
it's pretty surreal right now. It's seeing my grandma here, and she's got the same jersey on that I wore or that she wore when I was playing here, and seeing my daughter here, and she's got the throwback jersey, and everybody that was here when I played for Marquette, my family, friends, they're here again, and being home again, playing for the Bucks, hometown team, and being a block away from where a lot of memories were. It's a pretty awesome feeling, and for Marquette to do this for me and to it's humbling.
Let's go back to when you found out you were coming to the Bucks, how that kind of all went down. Did it occur to you? Were you thinking, what were the emotions that were going through your head when you were thinking, I might be back in Wisconsin, in Milwaukee? Is it a good thing? Was there some hesitancy? Is it kind of like you can't go home again? What was going through your head when that was all going down?
I think that, well, first of all, free agency was a little different than we thought that it would be. My team and I, but everything happens for a reason, and God's timing is always right. And 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago, I don't think there would have been any way if this opportunity presented itself that I would have took it. I don't think I would have been ready for it. I don't think that I would have embraced it. I don't think I would have appreciated it and been as grateful as I am for it now. And it means more. I think at this stage in my career, this stage in my life, it means more to be home and essentially where everything started, and to be a part of something. Not only is it just about being home, but being on a winning team, being on a great team, a team that has a chance to win the whole thing, and to do it home. There's no better place to do it.
Going to get a little deep on you here. What do you think was the biggest thing that you learned about life while you were at Marquette? And what do you think is the biggest thing you've learned about it since you've been gone and since you've come back?
Biggest thing I learned about life at Marquette. I really, even though I was young, 18, 19, 20, 21, in those years, I really felt like during that time I became a man, so to speak. We endured so much as student athletes, and with Crean as a coach for 3 years, I can't even count how many assistant coaches I had in between that time. So all the personalities, all the teammates that I had that have come and gone and transferred in, and recruits, and then being with Buzz for a year, in his frame of mind and how he conducts himself and how practices were and how he held us to a standard of accountability of being men. We truly thought that at 20, 21 years old we were men, we were grown, even though we had no idea what that meant until we left the walls of Marquette. But not only on the court but off the court, Marquette really prepared us for a life that we couldn't understand, for a life that we couldn't see. But when it got to the basketball court, trying to make a team in Utah, I wasn't afraid of anything. When it got to dealing with people in a room that I have no idea who they are and their different backgrounds and all that kind of stuff, because of what Marquette helped us do and grow as men off the court, I wasn't afraid of anything. So now coming back, it's just kind of like, you're thankful. I feel thankful for the city, for the state, for the people in it, because I really, like when I said, I really feel like I became a man here.
You're obviously busy with the Bucks, but how often are you keeping up with Marquette? Are you watching every game, and what do you?
It's
think
hard to
of the
watch
team?
every game. It's hard to watch it. Definitely watch the Villanova game, though. Definitely watch the Villanova game, Dante DiVincenzo. But, they play hard. They play hard, and I love the style of play. I love what Woj does. I love what Woj brings to this team, to the community of Marquette. When we got here, you come here because of a coach. And so when Crean left and we had Buzz, and then Buzz was still here, it still felt like home. And when Buzz ended up leaving, it's kind of like, I know for myself personally, it was just kind of like this like limbo. You're like, man, I went here, but I don't know anybody here anymore. And the first thing Woj did was he reached out to all of us. I mean, from myself to Jimmy to D-Wade to Novak to Diener to everybody to say, hey, this is still your place. This is still your home. This is still, your guys' university. And he invited us all back, and we all came back, and we broke bread, so to speak. We ate at Moe's. We competed against in open gyms, and it was just like, it felt like home again.
Did Dante have to wear a Marquette jersey?
No, not yet. We got to get him one.
That combination of you, Dom, and Jarrell, for a lot of Marquette fans of this generation, that's the group that they remember. That's the one that stands out in their mind, is what is Marquette basketball in their minds. We see Jarrell in TBT. Obviously we see you around with the Bucks and whatnot. How much do you keep up with those guys and Coach Crean? I mean, I'm sure there's some sort of network now with social media, but how much do you talk about the current program with them and kind of stay bonded with that group?
We're all still tight, and that's the thing about what Marquette does to you is you endure. You go through a lot on the court, you go through a lot off the court, but you do it together. You do it with your brothers, and you become family. And that's the same thing with other classes after us. Jimmy and Jay and Vander and DJO and Bikes and all those guys, Devontae and Jamil, like, they're all brothers. Like, it's just what this university and this organization does. I think I talked to Rel 3 or 4 days ago. I've talked to Buzz before the season started. We go out to Paris. Maurice Acker, he's playing out in France, so we're gonna try to connect while we're out there. So it's like we don't miss a beat.
Back to the bobblehead. Are you gonna take one home with you? Or are you gonna put it up in your house? What are you gonna do with it?
My daughter's probably gonna break a couple of them. But we'll definitely have some at the house. A couple of my teammates asked for some. So George asked for one. So I'll take care of him.
Since being back, how much have you been able to connect to the current team and Marcus Howard and players like that?
So that's basically what I was talking about with Woj when he brought us back in, and we compete and play, like when the guys are getting ready for TBT, we're playing open gyms and all that kind of stuff. And I said it's a family. So talked to Marcus a few times, when seeing him in the building and stuff. And it's just a respect thing. And it's kind of like, everybody knows when you throw that Marquette jersey on, not much needs to be said. It's take care of business. And that's actually what I told all the guys before the Villanova game. Just handle your business. And, those guys know that they can reach out to us at any time, and we'll be there.
One of the more memorable games you had was the final game of your junior year against Stanford, and you played against the Lopez brothers.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that, and do they remind you of that, or is that more important to you that you remember more about it than they do?
We definitely still talk about that all the time. I give Robin Rolo more of a hard time because I don't even remember him doing much in that game, so I'd like to remind him of that. Brooke was the one that hit the turnaround impossible shot, so he'll chime in every once in a while talking about that. But those are good guys, and I really wish we could play that game over again, though.
Maybe one of those fake wrestling moves one of these times you can get revenge.
Right.
There's that one. A lot of us remember the UConn game where Dom went down. That was a tough night, but there were a lot of great nights too. What are some of the nights and the memories that stick out in your mind from your Marquette career?
Man, I don't even know how many of them would be from the Bradley Center. I mean, obviously we had a lot of great moments and a lot of great games and a lot of big wins. But just being with the guys, and even though sometimes practice was hell, conditioning was hell, just those moments, because you bond. That's when you get closer, when you don't see the clock coming up at any time soon. You don't think that there's any way you're going to make it out of this workout, and we're in the locker room afterwards and we're laughing about it and we're joking about it. And the open gym sessions when no one wants to leave because someone got the better of somebody and someone else got the better of somebody else. And, we just keep playing hours and hours and hours. And, obviously the Big East games have always been unbelievable. Pittsburgh games, I mean, one game that sticks out in my mind is, West Virginia on the road, Dominique hitting a game winner, and North Carolina State, Syracuse at home, just countless pros that we went up against, trying to get to the place where I'm at now. And, it was a great time.
When you came to Marquette, you came with Nick and Jarrell, and you were kind of known as the triplets.
Yeah.
Of the three, you were the one that was kind of under the radar. You're a guard that you would play more power forward. Marquette never seemed to have a power forward or a lot of size when you guys played, but it always seemed that the coaches like Hank Raymond's, Bob Knight, when they played, would always say, Nick would have 29, Jarrell would have 25, and you'd have maybe 16, and Bob Knight would just rave about you and your skill set and what they saw. Did you kind of you didn't surprise them in terms of what you did in the NBA after Marquette, but looking back on it, were you kind of under the radar coming out of Marquette because you were playing out of position a lot?
I mean, it depends on which way you look at it. I got to credit my mom for that. She really taught me to fear nobody when it was in between those lines and guard the best player. And she was never specific. Just guard the best player. So if that was the biggest person, the smallest person, it didn't matter. So when I was in those positions as a undersized whatever position I was in college, I don't even know if I had one, and it just worked out that, between Crean and Buzz, they were going to go with their 5 toughest players. That's something that Buzz always harped on. He said he's going to play his 5 toughest, regardless of position. And like I said, it's about getting your job done. And by any means, we worked. That was one thing about us is we didn't really have social media like that back then. And so, everything is documented now, and guys in the gym and all that. We really did that before I think it was cool to do that. Like Jarrell, Dominique, Reese, myself, we'd bring Burke along, Jimmy. Jimmy it was his first year, and I made sure to drag him along. Like, we worked, and we loved it. And so I think that's what gave us the confidence that no matter what we were up against, and for myself personally, it gave me the confidence that if I can go against Jarrell McNeil, who's the Defensive Player of the Year in the Big East Conference at 6'2.5", then I can go up against anybody. If I can go drive by Dominique James, who's one of the most athletic people I've ever played against in my life, then I can go by anybody. If I can score on the block against the Lazar Haywards, or, going against ourselves is what gave us the confidence. Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.